We are back with another episode of the Sports Nerds. Sorry, I had to get my sadness out of the way. We are back. Week 1 in the NFL just happened. Had some crazy games. Getting ready to discuss those. We have power rankings, players of the week from each of the boys. But as always, Braden, Brock, how you guys feeling? I know if for our listeners only out there, Brock has a terrible background, terrible green screen going on. But Braden, how are you feeling?
I am feeling spectacular, man. It could not be better. 54 might be one of my favorite numbers of all time.
Yeah, I'm
That's
getting
all
an
I have
Iowa
to
jersey
say.
that just says 54 on it.
They let
Bring
kickers wear any number they want now. He's I think Conrad is going to change his number to 54.
Be better. I mean,
Brock, how are you doing?
I'm sunburnt. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Leave it to Iowa weather where 75 degrees can feel like it's 100 degrees when you're in a stadium with a bunch of people. And the best part is where we were sitting, the sun was going this way. So I had a nice gradient sunburn too. It wasn't just one shade.
Of course, that'd be too easy. Of course not.
The more you went this way, the darker it got. And it was like, oh no. And by the time, I should have reapplied sunscreen at halftime. That's on me. But, by the time the fourth quarter hits and the sun's over the press box, you get a little bit of shade where we were sitting. That's when you start feeling it. And you're like, well, it's too late now because I can feel it. So
Listen, you call it a sunburn. I call it coloring it cardinal.
that is a good way of putting it. Hey, there was this Iowa fan. He may have been, he may have had some liquid courage, but he was the nicest Iowa fan I've ever met. I don't think he actually cared about the game, and that's probably because he drank a lot beforehand. He participated in every Iowa State first down thing, which was the weirdest thing ever. He participated in Juicy Wiggle, and he, out of everybody, sang Sweet Caroline the loudest in the crowd. And he got it. He has an Iowa quarter zip on, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I'll have to show you guys the video outside of the recording. But he was doing his own rendition of the Juicy Wiggle, one of the best renditions of the Juicy Wiggle dance I have ever seen.
For those of you that haven't been living under a rock the last 5 days, some silly game happened at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and some red and yellow team beat some black and yellow team. We won't go into the specifics of that, but assuming if you're listening to this podcast, you know what game we're referring to.
Are we previewing the Steelers Chiefs AFC Championship game?
We might be, the way the Steelers looked on Sunday. But yeah, there were some fantastic games going that happened this past week. We're going to start it off with the opening night kickoff of Eagles and Cowboys. Eagles ended up winning this one 24-20. Kind of a weird game. Dallas jumped out to an early lead. This game was delayed in the middle of the third quarter due to lightning. Ended up starting back up, and Philly was able to take home the 4-point W. Braden, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this was just a weird one, really. Dallas was kind of just running that same too high defense. If you look at Jalen Hurts' pass chart, it's straight up just every pass was within 10 yards. And then that one 51 or so yard bomb to Jahan Dawson. And then it was, other than that, it was just Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley just running the piss out of the football, which if you're into that, heck of the game until about that weather delay midway through the third quarter. And then it was just punts. So
yeah, there was no scoring.
And if you're into that kind of football, then listen, this had a little bit of everything, I guess.
Okay, full disclosure, I'm trying to remember. Oh, I had a event for a place I used to work at. The president of the Alumni Association retired, and I was helping out for an event for his retirement ceremony that night. So I wasn't able to watch the game. Was there actually a score after the rain delay? Or
No.
So that 3 points in the third quarter was scored beforehand?
Yep.
Yes.
If you guys honestly stayed up for that, much respect.
I did. I did. I wasn't able to watch the first half because I was at work, and I'm like thinking in my head, oh, I'm not even going to be able to watch the second half. Then as I'm driving on the highway, I see on my phone, oh, rain delay at the end of the third quarter. I might be able to watch the fourth quarter, and I'm regretting every decision of watching that game.
That's even more respect because
Nasty
you were
football.
committed after work
Nasty football
to still watch it.
But yeah, Braden mentioned it. A lot of rushing. I think the only touchdowns scored in this game were rushing touchdowns for both Dallas and Philly. Brock, what were your thoughts on this game? I know you said you only watched a little bit.
Just
but...
the highlights.
Yeah.
Casual fan. I didn't. I personally didn't want to watch the Cowboys. Personally, it was more that than anything because I'm just not excited to watch this Dallas Cowboys team whatsoever. But they did have 2 rushing touchdowns, which was not on my Dallas Cowboys bingo card for opening weekend, and Dak Prescott was held under 200 yards. I mean, the Eagles defense is going to be the Eagles defense, so that doesn't, I guess, shock me as much. But
I mean,
close
the
game.
Thing is, like, Dak had under 200 yards, but if you actually watched like the full game,
Dak was playing well.
CeeDee Lamb looked like Quentin Johnston after that rain delay.
Yeah.
That man was dropping everything. I think CD ended up with about 110 receiving yards. He could have easily had 200 himself.
Yeah, 7 targets. 7 receptions on 13 targets. So I bet you all 6 of those drops were
clanked off of his hands.
Yeah,
Dak played about as good of a game as you could possibly play against that really good Eagles defense, which granted was without Jalen Carter because he mistook spitting on the ground. He mistook Dak's jersey for the ground. Tried to spit on the ground and apparently hit him square in the chest. Which, I mean, easy mistake, can happen to anybody.
Do you guys believe that Dak literally was trying to spit on him the first video? Have you seen that video? Okay, I wanted to make sure.
It's like it was just a matter of circumstance. I think he was genuinely just trying to spit on the ground.
Okay.
Maybe like trying to go in the general area, trying to egg him on. But even if that's the case, Jalen Carter's still an idiot for taking the bait.
Yeah, no, and that's why
it's always the person that reacts in those kind of situations is the one that gets punished.
For those that don't know, that like obviously everybody knows if you watch the NFL that Jalen Carter got thrown out for spitting on Dak, and
a down of football was not even played before.
Down of football hadn't been played. Jalen Carter was ejected, and Ben Van Summer and the Eagles fullback tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm. And Dak, there's a video of Dak that may, to some people, appear that he was the one that instigated it by also spitting in at least the area that Jalen Carter may or may not have been standing in, which may have, I fully believe was the reason that Jalen Carter then did what he did. But like you said, it's never the first person in a football game. I think in basketball, there's probably more instances of the first person getting in trouble than in football, because football, there's the helmets are, if it's saying something or if it's doing spitting or stuff like that, you can hide it a little more easier with your face mask, obviously. Or you can do movements that are a little more like, oh, it's a football move, but it may look a little dirty when you look it back. But no, this it wasn't even a down of football, and one of the best or better defenders in the NFL is already getting thrown out. So I don't know if it would have completely changed the outlook of the game if he was still there, but
I feel like it would have. You certainly would have had Javonte Williams scoring 2 rushing touchdowns up the gut.
That's a good point.
If they didn't have backup defensive tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, they were already down as much talent as they lost in the offseason, and then you lose one of the better interior defensive linemen in the NFL as well. Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise that they could barely get a stop until the field had to be vacated.
I was the person that benched Javonte Williams in fantasy. I couldn't tell you why.
Listen, can't blame you.
That's not that. And I have one coming up later of a player I didn't start in fantasy that I would like to mention. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those where it's like, well, duh. Like you kind of, unless you drafted him as one of your first running backs, he's someone that you would like keep as a reserve for either a bye week, or if the off chance that he is having a random year that he's just going off. Like he's not necessarily someone that you would probably start week 1. So that's nothing that, like, if anything, the person that you played got lucky more than you made a bad decision in terms of that not playing him.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams was going in like the 13th round. That was a guy that you picked as like an end of the bench. Like my entire team is on IR, and my starting running back otherwise is still on a bye.
Or if you're in a 14-person league like I am, where all of a sudden you're picking up third-string running backs, and you're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, 14-man league. Your first 2 picks were wide receivers. You get to the 3rd round, and your running back options are like Isaiah Pacheco, like just
nasty.
Like got names you recognize, but it's like if this is your starting running back, good Lord.
Before we move on to the next game we're going to talk about, do you guys think this was more impressive that Dallas kept it within 4 points, or is it more about Philly not being able to blow this game open? Because I think we all agreed before this game when we recorded last week that Philly should be dominant in this game with no Micah Parsons for Dallas. It's Super Bowl night. They're hanging the banner. Do you think it's more impressive that Dallas kept it close, or is it more disappointing that Philly wasn't able to blow this game open?
I think it's a lot more impressive that Dallas kept this close. I mean, obviously, week 1 offenses aren't going to be firing on all cylinders, but they were able to fire on all cylinders until that rain delay. But I mean, the defense, I mean, obviously didn't do great, but they looked at least serviceable.
Right.
Especially after the rain delay, they looked really good. But
camera malfunction right there. That was
okay. Anyways,
Anywho,
audio listeners, my camera decided to do its own version of the Juicy Wiggle there for a second. But
that's one way to put it.
Like I said, Dak Prescott was playing really well. Honestly, he was playing like a top 10 quarterback this week. So I think this is the fact that this game was still close, even with CeeDee Lamb having those drops, I think is a very good testament to how good of a quarterback Dak Prescott really is and how well he can lead a team when he is fully healthy.
Rob, what about you?
See, this is not fair to the rest of the teams that play on week 1, but for some reason I always treat the Thursday night game as like I don't know. It's the Super Bowl. It's the first game of the year. First, everybody's watching it, so everybody's watching it a little closer than maybe the full first slate of noon football games on a Sunday. I don't really side with either, like one way or another, of who this reflects more, because the Eagles had a defensive player that, like Braden mentioned, could have probably stopped those 2 rushing touchdowns from Williams. Dak played really good. I think it was just I guess it would probably be Dallas surprised me a little more than I probably expected, but that doesn't mean that I'm disappointed in how the Eagles played whatsoever.
Totally fair. I think I would side with both of you guys. I honestly, on our episode last week, I thought Dallas is going to get smoked in this game.
Oh,
I thought Philly had every advantage to win this game by 15 to 20 with just everything going on. But yeah, Dallas kept this closer than a lot of people would have expected. But it was a great game to start off the season. There was a game the following night, but this time in Brazil, Chiefs took on the Chargers. Chargers ended up pulling this one out 27-21.
Wait, who won?
What's up?
Who won?
He's had a rough enough weekend. We can let him live.
The blue and yellow team. The blue and yellow team. But yeah, Chargers looked really well. Justin Herbert had an unbelievable game. Probably one of the better games I've ever seen him have, especially with them not really being able to get the running game going. Only having Amari and Hampton having 48 yards. But what were your guys' thoughts on this game, Chiefs-Chargers in Brazil?
You ready for my fantasy player that I benched? And it was more of because I just wanted to see what would happen. Like, I drafted him
for
Quentin
Johnston.
No, and it was not him. I drafted Keenan Allen.
Oh.
And I left him on my bench. And
he had like
I
20
lost
points, didn't he?
Yeah, 7 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown.
I lost by 4.
Oh.
So even half, not even a fourth of what he did.
Yeah.
Would have won me my matchup. And Dawson, honestly, I'm interested to see what you thought about this game coming from the Chiefs' perspective, I know we'll talk about probably one of the brutal injuries that came from the Chiefs' side, but I will admit, I've been hating on the Chargers for a couple of years now. I don't, for some reason, I just don't know why. I've just never have seen the hype that people have had on this team. Herbert, out of all of them, made the biggest statement with over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And I mean, that slide was very, very cool looking. I think there was a couple cool photos. I mean, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to be like, oh, that doesn't exist if you're a fan of the team that happens against. The amount of photos that the Cardinals have that I don't like talking, like freaking DK Metcalf after that pick that should have been a pick 6 and stuff like that. But no, the Chargers impressed me for sure. And you guys mentioned Quentin Johnson. Has he figured it out? Has he remembered how to catch a football? Because he was great in college. People forget how good he was in college. If he is a good receiver that can catch the ball when it's thrown to him, maybe I need to restart rethinking how I look at the Chargers as a whole.
My question is Quentin Johnston just Jerry Rice, but only when he plays in Brazil? Because, I mean how? Quentin Johnston, the last 2 years, he could not catch to save his life. You could put two-sided duct tape on his hands, and he still would find a way to clank it off of there. I don't understand how he would do it, but I mean, with the target share he's probably going to have, considering like really the rest of the weapons don't look great. If he can keep this up on a week-to-week basis, he could end up being like towards the maybe top 20, top 25 receivers, because he has the tools to make it happen. He just needs to be able to catch, and if he's got that figured out, who knows?
Yeah, he had a fantastic game. 5 catches, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Was Chargers leading receiver. And yeah, you guys both said it. He looked really, really good in that game, which is not something I think we've ever seen Quentin Johnson do in the NFL, at least at this point in his career. But I think one of the other big storylines that we need to discuss is the Xavier Worthy injury that Brock kind of touched on earlier. Another friendly fire injury, the Chiefs players just hurting other
against
Chiefs
the Chargers.
players. Yeah.
If I remember right, the one last year happened against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Are Chiefs players just red blue colorblind? Like, do they think they're hit sticking the Chargers
they
and they just hit stick their own teammates?
Last year was Mahomes took out Rashid Rice. This year was Kelsey that took out Xavier Worthy. So it might be. But yeah, sounds like he's going to be out a couple weeks, I assume. It sounded like it could have been a lot worse. I thought when I first saw the play, I thought he broke his collarbone. I thought he was done for the year. The way he was holding his shoulder with the towel on his head when he's walking to the locker room, I'm like, he's done. But it sounds like they kind of avoided that. And he went out on the very first drive of the game, and some of these Chiefs receivers who had catches, my gosh, they're cooked for the next few weeks. Hollywood had 16 targets on 10 catches. Juju Smith-Schuster in the year 2025 had 5 catches. Tyquan Thornton. Do you guys know that Tyquan Thornton's on the Chiefs now?
I did, because there was a lot of hype on him coming out of camp. Hearing that a lot of the Chiefs guys did like him, and he looked pretty good. He got a lot of targets on those deep throws.
Mm-hmm. But
they're going to have to hope he's good.
May or may not be trying to pick up Hollywood Brown right now off the waiver wires after losing.
16 targets, 10 catches, 99 yards. He had an unbelievable game. But I think the biggest storyline outside of the Worthy injury is the Chiefs running backs having a combined 41 yards on the ground. Pacheco had 5 carries for 25 yards. Kareem Hunt had 5 carries for 16 yards.
Who was that running back you guys drafted in the late rounds this year? Was it Rashard Smith?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We might have to kick the tires on him, because I think it might be over for Pacheco. That injury might have done it a little bit worse than we thought.
Why is Kareem Hunt getting meaningful carries in the year 2025?
They only ran the ball 10 times with their running backs. That's the crazy thing for me. That's the thing that blew my mind more. So they realized quickly that the run game was not going to work.
No.
Which whether
kudos to him for figuring that out earlier than later,
Yeah.
but it's not a good sign.
No. But I know the stats won't support it, but Mahomes had an unbelievable game. He had some unreal throws that looked like old Mahomes. He had that one deep throw to Hollywood Brown in the 4th and 7. That was a absolute strike down the field. But yeah, that with the Chiefs dropping this game, and then next week, or I guess this upcoming week, they have Eagles at home. They might be in trouble, and I hate saying that out loud. But moving into our
real quick,
Yep.
I don't know if this is accurate. So if I name any of these guys and they are on teams, let me know. But according to this website that I found, some of these free agent running backs might be worth taking a look at. Let me double check when this was posted.
You want to name
Gus Edwards was one of them. Cam Akers, Khalil Herbert, Royce Freeman, Jamal Williams. So these are, hey, go get Zeke. Go get Zeke.
Absolutely not. We have enough running backs that can get 3 or 2 yards on a carry.
Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce just got picked up.
He did.
You want to
He's
know
on the
my
Broncos
sleeper?
now.
You want to know my sleeper? Former Delaware Blue Hen running back Marcus Yarns. That's my sleeper. You heard it here first.
Go Blue Hens.
He is the next Austin Eckler. You just wait.
Is that so?
Has that receiver / running back flexibility. He can do it, man.
I'm clipping this so that way if Marcus Yarns.
Listen, if Marcus Yarns gets signed and goes for 100 yards, I want both of you. I want both of you to come back on this podcast apologizing for not believing in the kid.
Anything. Whoa.
Yo. Jesus,
But
I got drain flies all over the place right now.
We'll get you a jersey for whatever team he runs 100 yards for off
There
of
you
DH.
go.
That'll work.
Yeah, I was gonna say not
That'll
an
work.
NFL. You getting the $30 China jersey?
I'll take it.
The budget is not great for either me or Brock if that were to happen.
Yeah.
I need something for that kind of take to work.
We'll get
Come
you a
on now.
DH Gate shirt or
There you
jersey.
go.
We'll
I'll
get
take
you a jersey.
Oh my God, yes. But you got to wear it. You got to wear it one of the episodes. if
I
that
will
happens.
proudly wear the Marcus Yarns shirt jersey if he
man.
pops off and becomes the next Austin Eckler. I will wear that with pride.
Yeah. But moving into our noon games on Sunday, there were a couple of good games. The two that I want to talk about really quick, and then you guys can bring up any if you would like to. But Steelers and Jets, the highest scoring game other than the Sunday night game, which we'll get to. 34-32. Pittsburgh able to pull this one out. An Aaron Rodgers revival game is what we saw. 244.
Is that the only revival that we've seen though? I think we may have seen 2 quarterback revivals.
Maybe.
You cannot say that Justin
honestly.
Herbert played bad.
You mean Fields?
Oh, Justin
Yeah.
Fields.
Yeah.
Well,
one
I
of
wouldn't
the
say Justin Herbert played bad either. But
No.
One of the throws that Fields made though,
Yeah.
Herbert it was the nicest throw I've ever seen him throw.
Mhm.
I think it was in the air, and before it reached the receiver, I went, "Did Fields learn how to throw?" Because it was a dot, and it resulted in a touchdown. Obviously, no, this was way better of a game than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, this is so the combined score was 66 points. I thought we were getting 30 points between these two teams and not
oh yeah.
66. But yeah, Rodgers went 22 for 30, 244 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Steelers couldn't run the ball to save their life. Jalen Warren had 37 yards. Rodgers threw a touchdown to 4 different guys, which is really impressive. And then, like Brock mentioned, Justin Fields with an out of the blue A- game
For him, A+.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to put it. But 16 for 22, 218 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, along with 48 yards on the ground and 2 rushing touchdowns. What are you guys' thoughts on this game? Is it more about Rodgers being back, or is this more about Fields being back?
Yeah, I can we say both? I mean, I would say both the
You can.
Jets and the Steelers have really good defenses, and they both. I mean, I don't think anybody had like super high expectations for either of these quarterbacks, and they both went out there and absolutely slanged that rock.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like Brock was saying with that Garrett Wilson touchdown, that was a thing of absolute beauty. Calvin Austin went and head tapped somebody. That was one of the plays that I saw. I had this on my little quad box in the corner. So I wasn't really able to pay too much attention to this game because there were a lot of really good games going on that early Sunday slate. But at every time I looked down in that corner, there was some like insane play happening. So yeah, just all around heck of a game.
If the Sunday night game wasn't what it was, this would have been my game of the week. This was my favorite game that happened this past weekend. And you mentioned 4 different receivers or 4 different people caught a touchdown by Aaron Rodgers. None of them named DK Metcalf or Pat Freiermuth. That's a good sign if you're the Steelers. That's a huge sign for this offense that's been looking for anyone that would be able to catch a ball. Obviously, they've went through some iffy quarterbacks in the past. Obviously, Russell Wilson's doing great over in New York, it seems like. But no, this has been I'm actually really blown away by how well this Steelers offense looked. The rushing attack, a little concerned about it. They didn't necessarily run it as much though anyways. They're kind of similar in the Chiefs boat where they didn't run it over 18 total carries. Well, I guess 19 total carries if you count Caleb Johnson's run by their running backs. And then, New York also had a really good offense too. Breece Hall had 100 plus yards, didn't score, but that's a good sign for a running back that I feel like, had an injury, but has been kind of fighting to get back to that level of expectations that Jets fans kind of had and the organization had when they drafted him. And, not that I'm trying to keep mentioning Iowa State players, but Will McDonald had a couple of sacks for them too. Another player that they've kind of had high expectations for that's starting maybe to show a little bit of improvement over the years. The Jets shocked me. I'm more shocked about the Jets performing as well as they did than I am about Aaron Rodgers. And that's saying something because I didn't think Aaron Rodgers would ever throw 4 passing touchdowns ever again in a single game.
Yeah, both quarterbacks in this game, it's funny. They've both bounced around on different teams the last few years. Fields being with obviously the Bears, then with the Steelers last year, and now with the Jets. Rodgers bouncing from the Packers, Jets, and now he's with the Steelers. Both looked unbelievable in week 1. I think both teams feel pretty confident about their quarterbacks going forward this season. But yeah, this was, I think, the best game of the noon slot, which I think no one had on their bucket list when looking at the noon games. But yeah, this was a very good game. One of the games I definitely wanted to touch on.
Real quick.
The other game that I would like to touch on just a little bit. This was the 3:30 game. Packers in Detroit. Green Bay won this one 27-13. A dominant performance by that Green Bay defense because it was 27-6 until Isaac T-Slaw caught that touchdown with a minute to go. So it was a 21-point game for most of it. What are your guys' thoughts? Is there concern for Detroit, or is this more Green Bay just being utterly dominant?
Yeah, I would say this is probably more about Green Bay being just a really good team. Like I said last week, I think this team could pretty easily make the Super Bowl. So, Micah Parsons wasn't fully incorporated into that defense, but he still was getting triple teamed most of the time. So it really helped the rest of that defense, especially the front 7, to really blossom. Lucas Van Ness had his name called a couple times, I saw, which on the topic of players that have had high expectations where they were drafted, LVN was like a first-round pick. Hasn't really done much, but now hopefully with Micah Parsons on the other side should hopefully start to develop and get a little bit more production. You were kind of worried about that run defense maybe a little bit with losing Kenny Clark, but they held Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery to like a combined 50 rushing yards or something like that. So really good out of that as well. And the offense, man, that was my main concern about this team. And I know Dawson was saying this a lot earlier, can Jordan Love not throw like 12 interceptions this year? And he looked fantastic this game, made a lot of really, really good throws. And the offense in general was just clicking. Defense was clicking. Really, you could not have asked for a better game if you're the Packers. But I do want to say that Isaac Toslog catch might be one of the better catches I've ever seen, especially for a first career NFL catch. For it to be a touchdown, that was insane.
I don't want to talk about this game because
you don't have to say much. Just say the Packers are good and you can just move on. It's okay.
No, like I am legitimately concerned about this Lions offense, man. I think you guys touched on it more than I did, but I think you guys have hinted at the idea of how big of a deal this move of Johnson going over to Chicago to become head coach would affect this offense. And we all thought that he was kind of already on his way out during that playoff disaster of a game versus Washington. Or we talked about if that was potentially a storyline to think about. But it was hard. This was a hard game to watch for someone like me that kind of, I'm not a Lions fan at all, but like, it's, everybody has those teams that they like to watch win. And the Lions are one of those teams for me, and the Packers are not. Everybody knows based off of last week's episode that I just, growing up, did not like the Packers whatsoever. There was a throw, I cannot remember when in the first quarter, but it was a deep shot that Jordan Love took, and it was way overthrown. And I went, oh, there's Jordan Love. So this offense hasn't improved. And he shut me up quicker than any other quarterback has ever shut me up in the NFL. Because good Lord, did he have a good performance. And like you guys said last week, if Jordan Love is just decent, if not improves a lot and doesn't turn the ball over, this Packers team is going to be really, really difficult to beat, especially with that defense. Man, Green Bay is going to be a force to be reckoned with for not even just this year. That's the thing that scares me the most, is like you look at this team and you're like, they're kind of built for the long haul, really, when you look at it. Jacobs is a little older for a running back, but
they have Emmanuel Wilson and Marshawn Lloyd.
Exactly.
Can be at least decent for the future if they don't
They
get
have a good
somebody else.
coach. Why is it that the Packers never have to rebuild? That's my thing.
Yeah, three future Hall of Fame quarterbacks will do that for you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, I think Green Bay played really well, and that can't go unnoticed, but
I think it's more in Detroit.
I think I'm more with Brock. I think the stat I saw on Twitter, granted it's from Twitter, so I don't know I have to double check my sources maybe after this episode, but Jared Goff, when he doesn't have Ben Johnson or Sean McVay calling plays for him, is like 0-19-1.
Ugh.
And he didn't.
So
where he struggled or not him, the offensive line struggled.
Well, I think they had some roster turnover. They lost Frank Ragnow, who retired in the offseason, and then they lost, was it Zeitler to Baltimore?
Yeah.
But I know
there's like Tennessee even.
There's pocket
something like
passers.
They lost 2 interior linemen.
There's pocket passers that, like, if needed, they can scramble. He is not.
Mm-mm.
He, like, unless it's like one of those, like, Peyton Manning, like, play action plays at the 1 yard line that he's going to run in for a touchdown. He's not going to run that much, and if he does, it's not going to look pretty. So if this offensive line is going to struggle, not only is the run game gonna really struggle, which in my opinion shouldn't be an issue for them. They have two really good running backs, but if their line can't block, it's gonna be an issue. Like I'm not trying to overreact after a week one, but if there's one team to overreact about, this is the team for me, because everybody's still talking about them taking that next step. Yeah, they got the 1 seed last year and were disappointed in the playoffs, but everybody's still like, including myself, because I bought into it, whether or not Detroit will be able to at least contend in the NFC North again, if not maybe get back into that top 2 spot, host a playoff game, whatever it may be. I told you guys before we got on to start recording that I was going through that, like, you can pick every game through the entire NFL season and give you what the playoffs would be. And I did that just for fun after week one. And literally my playoff predictions stay the same, except for one thing. Detroit doesn't make the playoffs and Washington gets switched in for them. So, like, that's how big of a deal, at least from my eyes, how much it changes. Because I know that they have a tough place to play in Detroit, but the NFL might be one of the few places that doesn't necessarily affect as much. Obviously, there are outliers, but I wouldn't put Detroit on that level of those outliers like Seattle or Arrowhead or Dallas kind of was in that. Lambeau, though, where Detroit was just at. So I'm concerned really for Detroit.
Yeah, a team that's made some deep playoff pushes the last few years just kind of came out flat to start the year. So we'll see if the Lions can back.
We will see indeed.
Did we just lose Dawson? Oh, there we go.
He's back.
He's back.
Sorry. No, sorry. But in case I cut out, like the Lions are looking to bounce back. I think they play the Bears next week, so we'll see if they actually end up winning that.
That
one.
will be a really telling game, honestly.
Yeah, for either team.
For both teams.
Yeah. But are there any other games other than the Sunday night game and the Monday night game that you guys would like to talk about before we move on to the game of the week, game of the year potentially?
I mean, only other game I could really maybe think of is the annual Bengals underperforming in week one, mainly just because I'm pissed about Joe Burrow putting up like 6 fantasy points.
Okay, that's okay. I didn't know where you were going with that. I was gonna say though, Cincinnati played defense.
It's the Browns, man.
But no.
True.
You got
True.
True.
I mean, they did. I was expecting them to give up like 30.
Unreal.
They only gave up 20.
I made a comparison last week to them and Cliff Kingsbury's Texas Tech teams. Holding someone under 20 points for Cliff Kingsbury and Texas Tech was unbelievable. So you got to take your wins where you can get it, even if it was a Paul Rhodes Iowa State football team that couldn't score, even if they were given the ball in the end zone.
Hey, Iowa State scored 66 on the Cliff Kingsbury team.
That is true, though.
Or a quarterback.
That is true. I can't remember who their quarterback was, but
I can't quite think of it either. Now that I'm,
I do want to ask
on the face.
So much, dude.
I do want to ask.
This is just bullying. This is just cyberbullying. Is all this is.
No, you know
You've
what?
had too much fun as an NFL fan in the last 5 years.
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
True.
Yeah, the one time
you get to sit in the corner and cry one time.
Yeah, please. But I wanted to ask Braden, and you probably know what I'm going to ask about. Because I'm curious, because both of our teams are in the same division. Were you impressed by any team in the AFC West last week? And if you were, which team? NFC West. Which team?
NFC West.
Which team would you like? Were you most impressed by? Because I'm not gonna lie, I think the division really underperformed last week.
Yeah, I mean, Cardinals barely hung on versus the Saints. The Rams did take care of business against the Texans. I will say that it was like 20-7, I think.
14-9.
14-9.
14-9. Oh, that's even worse.
See, that's the thing is like I was I was looking at the scores and I was like, oh, I thought the Rams played better than they did, but I guess they held the Texans to 9. If that's, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, there was one play where I think like Kobe Durant like absolutely picked Jaden Higgins' pocket.
Yeah, what a name.
That was kind of impressive, I guess. But yeah, I mean, for the Niners Seahawks game, which I'm sure is the one you want me to talk about, not great. You look at the receivers for the Niners in the second half once Kittle was out, and he's going to be out for like the next month or so because he got put on IR. It was like Ricky Pearsall, Christian McCaffrey, and like Jake Tonjes was like the next best receiver.
Pearsall played good though.
Pearsall did play really good. I'll give him that. And Jawan Jennings, I don't think he played much in the second half, but he was cleared this week, so that's good. But yeah, and then Brock Purdy's questionable. I guess he has like a shoulder and a toe injury. He might not play next week. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is still Christian McCaffrey. Ayuk is still out until like week 6. Guys, I think I might have been right. This is still the Niners. So
yeah. Why did you give any targets to Sky Moore? What's that about?
I think you know good and well why we didn't give targets to Sky Moore, actually.
He scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I don't know why you wouldn't want him out there on the field.
And Michael Hardman scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl as well. I don't see anybody.
So is Kadarius Toney.
Outside of the just depression of like being a huge George Kittle fan, when I saw that he was hurt, or when he was in the sidelines being told that he was out, I knew something was up when he was wearing his just his the hat that all the players wear on the sidelines, then his helmet when the offense was on. And I don't think they were really hinting that he was hurt at that time. Either that or I had a quad box and I was listening to a different game. Don't remember for sure. But it could have been way worse because I saw Trent Williams go down. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is really we're really about to watch the 49ers team of last year all over again.
Which you look at the pressure stats from last week. Trent Williams was like our worst offensive lineman. He allowed 6 pressures. Yeah, of like the 19 pressures that we gave up that game.
Has there been a kicker signed?
Yes, Jake Moody has been cut. Yeah. I think I can hear the parades from Santa Clara all the way from here, and I believe we have signed Eddie Pinheiro as our new starting kicker, which I think he
play for like the Bears or like the Falcons.
Yeah, I think he started his career with the Bears.
Maybe that's
went to some other team. I think like
Carolina.
I think he went. I think he did play for the Falcons. I think it was the Bears. I was looking at his Football Reference page like 2 hours ago because that's when he got signed. I think he started with the Bears,
Jets, Carolina,
took a year off, went to the Jets. Oh, okay, and then Carolina.
So this is much better. Years. The teams that you name, all I think of is missed field goals.
Yeah, and I think he was like an 84% kicker last year.
Yep.
Missed a kick from within 30 to 39 yards.
You might as well give Connor Sally a chance.
He did. He missed. Yeah, he missed one in between 30. But doesn't exactly inspire a whole lot of confidence, but I don't think it can get much worse. So we will see what happens.
Who was the best team in the NFC West last week?
The best team in the NFC West last week probably still was the Niners. I might be biased saying that, but I mean, Seahawks are still a decent team, and we beat them on the road with all those injuries. So
Seahawks are a team that will beat you with their they're going to just, if they win, it's going to be their defense, not their offense. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of just their identity at this point, especially with all the defensive-minded head coaches they've had.
Yep.
I mean, it's been Pete Carroll and Mike McDonald. So.
All right, Dawson, let's get into the game that you wanted to talk about.
The game of the week.
Of the year.
Before we talk game of the year, yeah. But before we get into that, I got to bring up one game really quick. Daniel Jones is back. He's back, and he's better than ever. Sorry, that's
is
all
Daniel Jones back, or is Miami just the worst team in the league?
Miami might be going 0-17.
No. By the way, the like simulation thing that I did a couple days ago, or yesterday, I think Miami was at one point 0-13. So, like,
I think I saw a stat that Tyreek Hill has not caught a pass over like 30 yards since like week 1 of last season.
Guess who drafted him last year?
Woo. Oh, so did I.
All right. All jokes aside, game of the year potentially. probably the greatest game that I can remember since, was it the Bills-Vikings game from a couple years ago? Where Minnesota had
That sounds right.
insane 4th and 20 conversion and they scored a touchdown on that drive later. It's
Mhm.
up there with like Rams Chiefs. Like this game was unbelievable. For those of you not aware of what game I'm referring to Bills Ravens 41-40, an absolute shootout in the second half. Buffalo scored 22 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win. What are your guys' overall thoughts on this game? Buffalo, Josh Allen looked like the best player in the league. Baltimore kind of got this game away from him once Derrick Henry fumbled. But what are your guys' thoughts on this game?
I'm going to be completely transparent here. When it was 40-22, I went to bed. I was like, okay, this game is over. There's simply no way, right? Like they're up 18 points. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are. I was fully prepared to come onto this podcast and be like, yeah, no, the Ravens are insane. I mean, they just went out and boat raced one of the teams I had going to the Super Bowl. Ravens are really good. Zay Flowers had an insane game. Derrick Henry had like 170 yards. Ravens defense looked like they were doing pretty good. Not like great, but I mean, holding the Bills to like 22 points in 3 quarters, I wouldn't say is bad. And then I went to bed, woke up, and all the notifications were like, "Oh, Matt Prater hit a field goal to win 41-40." Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean Josh Allen threw for 270 yards in the fourth quarter? What are we talking about, man? That's insane. To who?
Is Stephon Diggs back on the roster?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, is Gabe Davis back to 2021 form? Like
Gabe Davis didn't even have a target.
What happened? But I have no words. Truly, the Ravens are. We give the Falcons so much crap for 28-3, and rightfully so. Falcons fans, I apologize for saying that. That was a stray for no reason, but
all 10 of them.
The game happened like 10 years ago, and we still make memes about it, dude.
Listen, you kind of
kind
of expect it at this point.
Yeah.
But anyways, the reason why I bring that up, the Ravens have choked so many games. You probably know what picture I'm talking about, of all of the score bugs, of all of these impossible to lose games that the Ravens have somehow found a way to lose every single time.
Doesn't Harbaugh have like the most like double digit like blown leads or something like that? I saw some random stat about him.
That is a very believable stat.
Let me look.
True. John Harbaugh, man, it was a good run, but you might not have a job after this season.
Is he on the hot seat?
No, stop.
He's not.
No.
I'm not saying hot seat. I'm just saying
it's lukewarm.
How on earth do you keep doing this?
Okay, so according to the Associated Press, the Ravens have blown 17 double-digit leads under Harbaugh.
How?
Jesus.
Man?
This includes a 10-point lead losing to the Raiders last year, week 2.
Yep.
15-point lead against Cleveland in 2023 and a 10-point lead against Pittsburgh as well in 2023. So it's happened 4 times in the last 3 years.
Wow. How, man? That is unfathomable.
Yeah.
How do you choke that many games?
It wouldn't even. The thing about this game too is this game was over. There was 4 minutes left. Baltimore was up 5, and then Derrick Henry fumbled. Buffalo got onto the 1 yard line. They were able to score a touchdown with Josh, and I think they went for 2, didn't get it, but were still leading by 1. Like, there were just so many opportunities for Buffalo to be put away in this game, but because I don't know, Brock, did you watch most of the game? And Braden, you watched most of the game too. Like, it felt like the energy in Buffalo, like the stadium when Ravens had 40 points, it just felt like there was no energy.
It felt over.
Yeah, the game was.
usually I will almost always watch a game to the end. The game felt just straight up over. There was no way. There was no. I keep saying it is unfathomable how they managed to lose that game, but it truly is. There's. You could play that game to that point 99 or you could play that game 100 times. 99 times that is a win.
Yeah.
You have a better chance of winning the lottery.
Yeah. Yeah, no goodness. But
the Bills pretty much did.
Yeah.
How?
By the way, so Harbaugh's 17 blown digit leads is in the second half, specifically just the second half.
Ooh, okay.
Most since 1991. So there is not a coach since 1991 that has more than him.
Ooh, that's not a great look if you're.
I don't know who second is, and I'm kind of curious who second is, but
I don't know. It's got to be a coach that's coached for 10 plus years at the same
spot.
Andy Reid could be Andy Reid for all I know.
Andy Reid has more double-digit second-half comebacks than Harbaugh has blown leads, which
was like if you remember like pre-2018, going full Reid was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like, that was a common occurrence where Andy Reid led teams would just totally collapse in the second half.
Is John Harbaugh one of the luckiest coaches in NFL history because of the Super Bowl that he won with Flacco?
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Is this like a Doc Rivers?
This is a Doc Rivers conversation.
Glenn Rivers?
As a Celtics fan, I want to have this Doc Rivers conversation.
Ooh. That title holds a lot of weight for Baltimore. That's a pretty valid comp, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I don't want to hear it.
I
forgot.
Oh.
That was the first year I ever watched the NFL.
I'm not gonna lie.
That was my first experience in football, and I kept watching.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think
I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
I thought this was a Bully Dawson episode. What the hell?
That's on me.
I've been bullied enough.
See, I bully myself, so like I can't do anything about it. No, but like honestly, that's
you're right,
conversation for later. He might be one of the luckiest, if not the luckiest, head coaches in NFL history. There's probably a couple other names that I'm not thinking about right now, but he's up there.
I think what's impressive is this was the first time in at least the last few games that the Ravens have choked this lead, and it hasn't been Lamar's fault. Lamar was unbelievable in this game.
I will say,
there were some throws he missed, and Derrick Henry was unbelievable. We're going to all forget about the 170 yards he had on 18 carries because of that one fumble. But Derrick Henry looked like 24-year-old Derrick Henry at the age of 31. But that's all going to be forgotten because the one fumble.
I might be overreacting, but the fact that there's only one receiver with over 3 receptions for the Ravens is a little concerning to me, but also, they only completed 14 passes that entire game. So, but
the only reason why is because I traded away Zay Flowers in my dynasty league. That's really it.
By the way, DeAndre Hopkins is one of my favorite players of all time. Everybody knows that. So anytime he can score, it's always a bittersweet moment for me because I'm always happy when he scores, but also it's like, damn, we could have been way better. But we had Cliff Kingsbury.
You sure did get away with the heist of the century just to do nothing with it, didn't you?
Shout out David Johnson. His jersey's back here hanging on my wall.
That had David Johnson on a 4th-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins in his prime.
Which, I mean,
Bill O'Brien, your donation to the game will not be forgotten.
Shout out Boston College head coach.
Butt Chin Bob.
Oh, man.
I don't know if I can say that.
No, you already did.
I did.
It's in the universe.
There. Yep. All right.
That's his name.
Okay. Let me get my composure for it.
Triple B's.
Gosh darn it. Anyway, there was a game on Monday Night Football. Oh,
sorry. Okay, I'm done.
Maybe one of the
The
greatest
last
things
game
ever
of the
come
weekend
with
slate
off the
was also a fantastic game, also between some division rivals. It was Vikings-Bears. Vikings end up pulling this one out 27-24 in a game that was really dominated by Chicago all the way up until the fourth quarter. Same with the Ravens dominating the Bills. It was Chicago up 17-3 or 17-6 at the start of the fourth, and then just falling straight on their face.
God, I
Uh,
love Chicago.
yeah. McCarthy, who started off really bad, I don't think he had more than 40 yards in the first half, threw a pick six in the third quarter, ended up turning the game around. 13 for 20, 143 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. They have the 1 pick six, but also had a rushing touchdown on the ground. But I think the main storyline of this game is the Bears just absolutely pooping the bed on this. But what were your guys' thoughts on this one?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Braden. Sorry.
Nah, you got. I've been going first. You got it.
I was. Can we? Am I wrong to like be like, okay, this was Ben Johnson's first game managing everything? I don't know if that's a fair excuse to give for the Bears, but at the same time, you look at the production on the offensive side. I will say Caleb Williams impressed me for most of the game. There were a couple throws. There was the one throw that everybody knows that would have been a touchdown late in the game to DJ Moore, right?
I think so, yeah.
And I think it was not just Caleb. I think it was a mixture of DJ and him, kind of just not a lack of, just awareness of where both were. Because I think they even said on the broadcast that Caleb was obviously not looking for him at first because he was wide open.
Mm-hmm.
But, you look at the rushing attack, and Caleb Williams led the team in rushing yards, even though DeAndre Swift had 17 carries. So
3.1 yards per carry.
Yeah, that's a that's not
certified
good.
Not great.
Yeah. So credit to the Vikings for the comeback. I will say towards the end, even when the Bears knew they were gonna run, their like rushing attack kind of impressed me, which is not necessarily what I was like looking for entering this game. I was kind of wanting to see what JJ could do, which, I mean, hey, if you need a quarterback that knows how to hand it off to running backs that can get you a bunch of yards, JJ McCarthy is your guy. There was a pass that he had to Jefferson that actually I maybe I need to go back and rewatch it, but Jefferson was the reason it wasn't caught late in the game.
Yep.
So impressed by the Vikings for sure. I will give, and maybe I'm wrong for doing this, I will give it's his first game as a head coach excuse for the Bears and Johnson. But Caleb Williams also did look like at one point he was like running for his life in the backfield a couple of those plays. So
it's the same story.
Same story, different year. The only difference is Caleb looked a little better this opener than at all last year. I really feel like only had 210 yards though.
Yeah, another one of these. I came in here expecting to be like, yeah, man, the Bears might be back. Caleb Williams was looking really good there at the beginning, but there were a few plays where I've been glazing this offensive line really all offseason, which maybe that's my bad for believing in the Bears. Maybe I should just know that by now, that there's not allowed to be nice things in Chicago ever since Jordan left town. But, yeah, Drew Dahlman, fantastic run blocker. Do not put that man in pass, bro. Don't do it. He is not good at it. Just straight up not good at it. Can run block with the best of them. Had one of the higher PFF grades in run blocking, which, say what you will about PFF grades, but they usually know what they're talking about with linemen. And one of the worst pass blocking grades. I really don't know how you can make that many improvements on the offensive line, and yet it still kind of looked like the offensive line not necessarily sold you the game, because there were plenty of opportunities to win that even still. But, I mean, Again, when you're letting Javon Hargrave look like he's back on the Eagles, there's a problem, man. I had to see that man be on my roster. He's not that good anymore. And you let him and Jonathan Allen look like they're back in their primes. That was a rough watch if you're a Bears fan.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give the Bears a pass this week. Just like what Brock said, it's the first game of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams like playing like in the same game as each other. And the offense looked good at points, but it was pretty rough for the rest of the game.
There was a lot to build off of if you are the Bears, but again, I mean, you come into the season thinking you won the offseason and then you fall on your face.
Yeah.
You just can't keep doing this.
No, but I think the main storyline is JJ McCarthy and him being able to pull off a comeback that I didn't see possible for the Vikings. Nope. I thought when they were down 17-6, I thought they were dead in the water because I think he had 40 yards or 50 yards of passing at the time. Just didn't look good. And then had the passing touchdown to Jefferson. And then the one I'm impressed by was the one to Aaron Jones on the wheel route. That's a tough pass to make, throwing it down into the end zone between a safety and a corner. That was really impressive. And then him being able to basically seal the game with that rushing touchdown to put the Vikings up 10 was super impressive. So I was very impressed by him being able to understand how bad his pick six was and being able to come back and really show out in that fourth quarter.
He's a game manager.
Yeah. Don't disagree. I don't disagree. But is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about this week before we get into our power rankings and then our players of the week?
No, I think I covered what I wanted to say.
All right. Well, Braden, I'm going to start with you for your power rankings. These are your week 1 power rankings for the NFL. You just want to elaborate us on your thought process here.
Yeah. So Buffalo, I mean, that was one of the better performances I've ever seen in one quarter. I mean, let's not act like the Ravens defense isn't still like insane. And he went out there and absolutely diced them up. That was simply incredible. I already had them probably in my top 5 pretty easily before the regular season, and this just cemented their place. Again, with a team that I had pretty high up. My 1 and 2 I had in the Super Bowl, so them going out and doing as well as they did in week 1 really made me feel pretty good about that. Had the Packers. I already touched on a lot of my talking points with them earlier. They're going to look even better with Micah Parsons, but even without him being fully integrated into the defense, that defense still looked really good. The offense was clicking. And, I mean, I still have faith in the Lions. I know you guys have kind of tapered your expectations a bit after that, but I still think they're still going to be a pretty – I still have a faith in them to make the playoffs, and they went and straight up dispatched them. So was really impressed with the Packers this week. Had Eagles at number 3. You are worried a little bit about letting Javonte Williams, of all guys, score 2 rushing touchdowns. Dak and CD should have put up a lot better stats than they did, but CD decided that he didn't want to bring his hands to Philadelphia. But I do think Jalen Carter coming back will fix a lot of those problems. And at the end of the day, you still won. So I'm not going to overreact too much about maybe a shaky defensive performance. 4th place, I kind of struggled with this one a little bit, but I do have the Chargers. Herbert, going to give a little bit of a hint here. He was my runner-up for player of the week. Just electric performance. QJ looked like he could actually catch the ball again. Offense was doing pretty well. Defense looked like they were at least decent. Mahomes had a really good game, but at the end of the day, you still beat the double magic Chiefs. So anytime you can win against the Chiefs, I'm going to have you pretty high up in my power rankings. And then number 5, it might be a little bit controversial to have a team with a loss in the first week of the season in my top 5. But if a game was 3 quarters, then the Ravens would have absolutely smoked my number 1 team. So I'm not going to plummet them, even though I am extremely concerned that you managed to lose that game. I still think there's enough talent on this roster. They're going to figure it out, and they're still going to be fighting for a really good finish to this season.
I really like those power rankings. Brock, do you have any thoughts on Braden's power rankings before we move into yours?
I had the same before you even get to mine. I had the same 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are a little different. I juggled with the Chargers and the Ravens whether or not they deserve to be in there. I ended up going with 2 other teams, but like it's one of those where it's like I don't have a problem with it. I know that like some people may think it's controversial to have an 0-1 team in your top 5. I think all my teams actually have a win, but I don't have any issues with having Baltimore in there because, like you said, they killed Buffalo through 3 quarters, and then obviously we know what happened. So
and then they didn't.
Yeah, and then they didn't. That's exactly.
Well, Brock, here are your power rankings for week 1.
So I
just want to elaborate on those.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, Bills, Packers, Eagles, same as Braden. I don't know if I need to really touch on that. I'm kind of interested to see if Dawson has the same 1, 2, 3, just because I feel like it's kind of obvious. Maybe Packers and Eagles may be able to switch a little more. Maybe he has someone in the top 3 that Braden and I don't, and we'll be interested to hear what he says. But at 4, I have Pittsburgh.
That scares me.
At 4, I have Pittsburgh. I was really, really impressed by this team. I know their defense may have not have been as, like, if you look at the scoreboard, the defense may not have been as present as a Steelers defense in the past you would expect versus the Jets. Obviously, the Jets were a little more impressive in this game than we expected. Their offense is what really shocked me. Like I mentioned earlier, DK Metcalf and Pat Freiermuth were the only 2, or I guess both of them didn't have a touchdown reception in this game, but Aaron Rodgers had 4 passing touchdowns. If that's going to be a hint for what this season may look like for the Steelers offense, I'm all in. I mean, you guys know that I have them in the playoffs. I have Tomlin winning Coach of the Year because of what I think Aaron Rodgers might be able to do if he stays at this level. I mean, this level that he had last weekend was way better than I expected. I was, again, top half of the league. I feel like the Steelers could be really, really good for Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers is a top 15, top 12 quarterback of the NFL. And then the Vikings. I mean, anytime you can come back against your divisional rival at their place, I think that's very impressive. I was impressed by J.J. McCarthy for sure. Able to throw a couple good passes. I mentioned Justin Jefferson actually dropped one of the better ones that he had. So that's a good sign if it's your best wide receiver and arguably the best wide receiver in the league is the one that's making that mistake. And the rushing attack, like I mentioned, impressed me a little more than I expected. I did not expect, I don't know why, Minnesota to have a good rushing attack or at least semi-decent one. So I put them in my top 5. Just outside of the top 5 definitely would be the Chargers. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's out of just bitterness that they actually played really well last week. I don't know.
Brock, I like the power rankings. Braden, do you have any thoughts on Brock's power rankings before we move into mine?
Yeah, I thought about Pittsburgh. I mean, I said last week, I know you touched on this a little bit in your justification. If Aaron Rodgers can play like a top half of the starting quarterbacks in the league, I think they're going to be a dangerous team. And I wouldn't put you in the bottom half throwing for 4 touchdowns. So I said they'd be good if they had a good quarterback. They had a good quarterback and they looked good. So I certainly don't hate having them in the top 5. Minnesota is an interesting one because I really wasn't sold on them through that first 3 quarters. But once McCarthy started to figure out how to be a starting quarterback, he had a couple pretty good passes, did have a couple touchdowns. So I don't hate having Minnesota in the top 5. With also the defense looked really good after. I mean, the Bears had that first drive touchdown, and then they had a pick 6, and then like a touchdown in garbage time. But otherwise, they didn't really do a whole lot of scoring. And with how much they improved that offense, you kind of expected them to. So shout out Brian Flores, one of the better defensive coordinators in the league. Should probably still be a head coach, but there's a little bit of a gray cloud around what happened there in Miami. So unfortunate, but I mean, Vikings are going to reap the benefit of that, I guess.
Yep.
And yeah, overall, I don't hate these. I think, like you said, 1, 2, 3 are pretty solid. I would say, at least for me, 4 and 5 is kind of where you have some room to put whatever teams you want, and I certainly don't hate the ones you got.
All right. Here are my power rankings for week 1. Same top 3, different order though. You guys both had the Bills at number 1. I have the Green Bay Packers at number 1. I thought the Packers looked really well. I think their defense looked really sharp. Micah Parsons, in the limited amount of snaps he played, was really good. Had the 1 sack on Jared Goff. And the only reason I'm giving the Packers the slight nod over the Bills is that Bills defense still worries me just a little bit. I'm not worried about their offense, but I think that defense, I think there's a little concern when it comes to them being able to get stops against the better teams. Like granted, they won 41-40. That's awesome, but they still gave up 40 points. And I know the Ravens are a great team, but that defense still has me a little concerned, which leads me to Buffalo being number 2. They looked great, but again, just that defense is what concerns me. We all had Philly at 3. Philly, I think we all expected Philly to really dominate Dallas, but they didn't. They still picked up the win. I mean, what more can you ask from Philly? I mean, they have a really tough game this week at Kansas City, so we'll see if they can go to 2-0, but I'm still really impressed with their defense, and obviously when you have Saquon and Jalen Hurts, your rushing attack is going to be pretty gnarly to stop. I have the Chargers at number 4. I'm always going to get, when teams beat the Chiefs, I'm always going to give them a huge nod. I think Justin Herbert looked really, really good on Friday. I was really impressed with him, some of the throws he was able to make, and then some of the scrambles he was able to have to really seal that game. I was really impressed, and you guys mentioned it a bunch already, but Quentin Johnston looks like an NFL receiver now, 3 years into his career, which I think is going to be huge for him. For that reason, I have the Chargers at 4. And then I was really impressed with Rodgers this week against the Jets. And I know we don't know how good the Jets are thus far, but Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns. I didn't think that would happen at all this season. For it to happen week 1, I was really impressed with. Yeah, some of the other teams that I kind of thought about throwing in there, I thought about throwing the Ravens in there. I was still really impressed with Baltimore. That offense is going to be unreal to stop, but they obviously lost that game. And then the other one was Minnesota, the way that they were able to come back and win that game. But that first 3 quarters, it's still there. Like, that image of how bad that offense was is still in my mind. So I have to ding them slightly. But yeah, that is my power rankings for this week. Do you guys have any thoughts on it before we move into players of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I get dinging Buffalo for that first 3 quarters, but I just think that Ravens offense is just so good that I just can't really penalize them that much for it. I mean, when Zay Flowers actually can catch the ball, that is a scary team.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was able to bring it down. So yeah, I definitely understand having concerns giving up 40 points week 1, but at the end of the day, the Ravens are really good. And when you can manage to win that game in the fashion that they were able to, I just have to tip my cap.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with it. I mean, 4, 5, and 6 for me were kind of like up in the air depending on the situation. So I don't have any issue. And like you said, like if you beat the Chiefs, like it means something still currently. We'll see if that holds up later on in the year. Don't know really what anytime the Chiefs lose, it's so interesting to see how quickly people jump off the Chiefs as a legit contender. But like you still have the greatest coach and the greatest quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they do fall off. Though this win for the Chargers could look at as a nothing burger, really, and all of a sudden the Chargers could fall off. And I mean, Denver also kind of struggled against a really bad Titans team, so this division may be a little closer than I originally expected heading into the season. So
even the Raiders looked okay.
Yeah, they're the Raiders. So let's move on.
All right.
As long as they're in Vegas, I don't take them
20-7. I think they won.
They won 20-13.
20,
if I remember correctly, against the Patriots. But
didn't Bowers get hurt?
Yeah, he did.
There you go.
I don't know if he's going to be out for a while or how severe the injury is, but yeah, I did know he got dinged up. But yeah, those are our power rankings for week 1. We'll have those posted on our social medias when this episode is posted. Moving now into our players of the week, guys, we think that balled out. Braden, we're going to start with yours. You want to give us your reasoning on your player of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've probably said about 8 times so far that was just in that fourth quarter will probably remain in infamy, probably for the rest of time. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna continue to just beat down on you guys just how insane that was.
Yeah,
Josh Allen, what a guy.
Brock, we're gonna move into your player of the week and just give us a quick recap or explanation of why you chose who you chose.
Yeah, so I was gonna go with Josh Allen, and then I feel like most of us are gonna look at Josh Allen as the option. However, I do think that Aaron Rodgers had a really, really good performance, and granted, comparing Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers' rushing numbers, I mean, Aaron Rodgers lost a yard on one rush, but he had 4 passing touchdowns, 244 yards through the air on a team that at one point it was like, can anyone score on this team except for the defense? So again, if beating a dead horse here, but if this is a consistent thing or a semi-consistent thing, the Steelers are going to be really hard to beat this year. And yeah, this is me out of all the people in the world. This is me giving credit to Aaron Rodgers. So that's a big thing for someone that grew up despising Aaron Rodgers when he was in Green Bay. So Aaron Rodgers is my player of the week.
Yeah, I like it a lot. To kind of cap off this episode, I'm talking about my player of the week. I picked Justin Herbert. I think what he did down in Brazil was something that shouldn't be overlooked. 318 yards, and then had, I think, another 40 or 30 yards on the ground. And he had that huge scramble that really kind of sealed the deal for the Chargers. Didn't turn the ball over, had 3 passing touchdowns, 318 yards. Looked really well. And yeah, had quarterback rating of 88.9. I mean, just looked really well. I was this close of taking Daniel Jones. I was really, really tempted to because of his unreal game. But I think the level of competition matters in these kind of things. So Herbert beating the Chiefs, I think, is slightly more impressive than Danny Dimes beating the Dolphins. But that's neither here or there. But yeah, that is my player of the week, Justin Herbert. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to hit on before we close this episode off?
No. Jake Moody, get ready to learn CFL, buddy.
Yeah.
Or arena football, one of the two.
Yeah. Really quick, is there any games you guys are looking? Okay.
I had to put it back up there.
Okay, whatever. Are there any games you guys are looking forward to this week and this week's schedule? Some of the bigger ones. Thursday night's Green Bay, Washington. There's Kansas City, Philly, Minnesota, Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit. Any other games you guys are looking forward to watching?
I haven't looked too much at the schedule, but yeah, the ones that you mentioned
looks like a decent one. Monday Night Football.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, another pretty good slate. I was pretty happy with our slate this week. Next week looks like it's going to be pretty good as well.
Yeah,
I am looking forward to the. Honestly, I'm not a Steelers homer whatsoever, but like I'm interested to see what they will look like against team that's kind of built for a defense in the Seahawks this week, to see if Aaron Rodgers can continue or produce something similar to last week. The Bears Lions one is what I got circled, because I really do think it's going to be a telling game of what each team is going to be able to do this season. And one of them is going to, there is an off chance that it's just a really good game and you can see positives from both ends. But knowing these two teams, I have a feeling that one team's going to look a little bit better, if not a lot better than what they looked like last week. And the other one, everybody is going to be hitting the panic button, because it's going to be like, what just happened?
Yeah. My kind of under the radar game this week that isn't going to mean much now, but it might mean something later in the year. Dolphins Patriots in Miami. If McDaniel drops that game and they go to 0-2, he might be on his way out of Miami, because I know he already entered the season on the hot seat. But it could be time for Miami.
His days are numbered. His days are numbered.
Yeah, I honestly don't think he makes it till week 8, week 9. But yeah, I think for sure if they start 0-2 against the Colts and the Patriots, not even like two juggernauts, I think Mike McDaniel should be counting his days in Miami. But that will do it for this week's episode of the Between the Hashes podcast on the 515 Podcast Network. For Braden Bank and Brock Bierman, Dawson Livingston, we are signing off.